gentleman that I met, I guess a couple of years back, has written a book on Shelby County. Are you a Shelby County native, Dr. Tatum?
Yes.
And live now. Tell us about yourself, where you are, what you're doing, what you're involved with.
I'm presently professor in geoscience and history at Texas Southern University.
Okay. And it's nice to have a gentleman like this come in, and I think it's a special time in our country. It's not Black History Month or time or in our county. And we're celebrating that time of the year, and there's a lot of information I think that a lot of people in Shelby County would like to know that is definitely in your book that I wasn't aware of course, because in history it's so interesting to look back and see where we came from, what our ancestors did. What are some interesting things we might not be aware of that you've learned in research?
Many of the things that found in our book, Shelby County in the East Texas Hills, for those people who are native to the county, much of the information will be known, but there will be much that's not known. Our book, firstly, will tell about the historical and cultural geography of our county. And then we examine the communities, the towns, and the one city of Circa in Shelby County. Just a few of those communities: Africa, Antioch, Ashton, Bell Chapel, Bobo, Buena Vista, Center, Coonville, Bell, East Hamilton, East Liberty, Blacksburg, Gates Chapel, Haslam, Hot, Texas, Hughstown, Jericho, Walking, McCowan Quarters, Mount Gillian, Mount Olive, Nettle Ridge, Newville, New Hope, New Prospect, Old Pleasant Road, Paxton, Pickering Switch, and Possum Trot.
I've heard Possum Trot.
Sand Hill, Shelbyville, Smith Chapel, Tinnehaw, Harrison Neck, Tipson, Todd Springs. We have two of them. One near Shelbyville, one near Tipson. So we have examined each of these communities, and we have selected families who cooperated with us in giving the genealogical background of the families who have to make up these communities. And the next thing we have done is a chapter entitled Across in the Hills. We have examined the Baptist churches, given the brief histories of all of those churches, the Baptist Association, the Methodist churches, the Church of God in Christ, the Church of Christ, and then we have one, the Triumphal Church in Kingdom of God in Christ. We have those church histories within this chapter. And then we have a chapter on the aged and the youth in Shelby County, and we examine the history of the fraternal organization, the walls. All of us must have heard of the Shelby County wall, the regulator-moderator wall. We went into quite a bit of detail about that. And Shelby County's role not only in the varying world wars that we've had and the involvement particularly with regulator-moderator wall, Shelby County and surrounding counties in that concern. And then we examine the education of Shelby County people, going into the backgrounds of all the schools and the history of teachers in the schools, who taught in the schools, and many of the pupils and their varying accomplishments. We are particularly proud in presenting...
Yeah, I'll put this where we can refer to it every time.
Can try.
Shelby County citizens, as we would notice here, I think it should be noted just a few of them. We have the Mr. Jim Goodwin.
Just step around our table and point it out to us.
Mr. Jim Goodwin, and most of the people of Shelby County knew this gentleman, his great contributions and the wisdom that he had and was able to share with so many of us. And then we have Dr. William Brown. Dr. William Brown he is a dentist presently in the city of Chicago and a graduate of our Daniels High School, later going on to Prairie View A&M, and later to the Harry Medical College, and further training to become one of the most noted dentists in this country. Then we have, I think the most fascinating thing about it all is a picture of a lovely lady, Luvinia Cook Jones, who was the wife of the late Professor George Jones, who many of the people of Shelby County will know or have heard about. Then we have Mrs. Agatha Osby, and many of us affectionately knew her as Aunt Bob, who meant so much to the people of Shelby County, and much has been written about her life and contributions in this county. Then we have another one, we all affectionately knew him as Uncle Lon Goodwin, who was really a pioneer of the Africa community. And then we have, I'll just go about a few of them here, Aunt Ludy Dixon, whom many of us knew, who lived to be far beyond 100 years. And then we were able to get some of the pictures of the former slaves. Here we have an Augustine, whom I do not know, but I heard many of the elders talk about her and how she shared her experiences about slavery.
Was slavery in Shelby County? Was Shelby County in existence back during the days of slavery, and did we have slaves in this county?
Yes, we did. Shelby County dates back to 1836, and these are just a few of the people whom we talked about in our book who were noted slaves, and we have a chapter in our book on slavery in this county.
Right. You know, I always think of slavery, we think of Georgia and down you see gone with the wind and back far to the east. You know, but I don't relate it to, yeah, that was here in Center Texas, or at least in our county.
Yes. In Augustine, as this is a lady who is related to Mr. Fred McClellan, who is yet living in East Liberty community, related to Willie D. Hicks, who's one of our noted morticians in this town, and many of her relatives yet live, and she had shared many of her stories about slavery with them. So our book gives quite an account of slavery within this county. Then you may note this lady who was a slave in Tennessee, and who seemingly brought the old world of Africa culture with her to this part of the world in carrying the load on her head.
Did the slaves like this lady here come directly from Africa to Shelby County, or was it like, I would almost think like a second generation of slaves coming from Georgia transpiring to Shelby County? How did that work? You know, was it?
St. Augustine, the story goes is that she was a slave in Louisiana, and that slave master sold her to the Rapper Plantation, which is in the Shelbyville area. And she had children. In fact, a person in relation to St. Augustine was one of those who was hung in Shelby County. So it's quite a story in relation to her. Also, I would like to point to this picture, the Reverend Cooper Daniels and Reverend C.D. Daniels, and the grandsons and great-grandsons of the Daniels. All of us must know that Reverend Cooper Daniels, quite well known throughout this county. His son, the Reverend W. Leo Daniel, became a very noted minister throughout the country with recordings of all kinds, not only of his sermons, but of his singing. And the late Reverend W. Leo Daniels, now formerly pastor of the Greater Jerusalem Baptist Church in Houston, has now passed on, and his brother, Reverend C.D. Daniels, is pastoring that very large congregation in Houston, and really 4 generations of ministers coming from the Reverend Cooper Daniels. And another one here, we have Mr. Jim Goodwin here. This is another picture of him and his wife. Now, we have others that we could talk about on this picture, but I would like to refer to the next picture, because we do have being shown on chapter in our book, really discussing the history of all of the churches. But I want to particularly point out Mount Zion Christian Methodist Episcopal Church, which is really the oldest black church in Center Texas. We celebrated last August the 110-year celebration for the history of this church. These things that are presented here, one, this was one of the original churches coming from 1877. And of course, you know now we are in a different building, but the pictures that you're seeing here are coming from the 100-year celebration that we had in 1877. So we do know, and the people in Shelby County know that this church has quite a history dating back many, many years ago. Now, we know that our county is a Protestant county primarily. We do not have many blacks who follow Catholicism in the county. Some few are here now who may attend the Roman Catholic Church, but mainly Baptist and Methodist people, Church of God in Christ, the Church of Christ, and Triumph, the Church and Kingdom of God in Christ. Another one I wanted to point out, and I do not have the pictures of, that I would like to present. We have in our book a chapter on education in the county, and many of the pictures of the one-room schools and one-teacher schools that we used to have in this county. Many of those pictures were shared by Professor Perry Sampson, and we were fortunate, we think, to be able to include them in our work, which is really approximately 750 pages. And then, as I pointed out to you, we have a chapter on the peculiar institution of slavery in Shelby County. And as you mentioned, there were a lot of people who shared the idea that you shared with me. They were not aware of slavery in this county and the things that went on in relation to it.
Right.
Now, our last chapter gets into one of great concern to me, and that is a grave look at Shelby County, where we have gone with the Reverend George Cartwright and many other people who went to these cemeteries and examined them well, getting the names in stone and getting the names that were not in stone from the memory of many of the people of Shelby County who shared their ideas and the names of people for whom they knew to be buried within the cemeteries. So we have given the history of most of the cemeteries, or I will say the known cemeteries in Shelby County. And certainly to come about with a book of this nature, it involved the memory, the minds, and the memoirs of many of Shelby County's people of all of the races. And certainly in many of the reviews about this book, it was stated that this is not a black history of Shelby County, because you couldn't possibly write a black history of Shelby County without including Caucasians. It is not a Caucasian history of Shelby County, because you could not have a Caucasian history of Shelby County without including the black experience. So we, in general, have a history of Shelby County to include all of its people who helped to make the county. I will say that a greater emphasis may be placed on the black experience from the many photos that you will see and the people who were willing to share those photos. Mrs. Mattie Dillinger at the Light Champion News and many others, but I will have to cite Mrs. Mattie Dillinger, Mr. Bob Pinkston, Ms. Mildred Pinkston, and Mr. Aldridge, and all of the people of the Light Champion News who really worked very hard and faithful in helping us to get this work into a reality, in sharing not only information from old newspapers dating far back before the 1900s, and then really going out of their way to find information and bring forth to Charles Tatum for this work.
I'll tell you what, let us kind of take a little break here for about a minute, and then we'll come back and maybe you can share a few interesting stories with us that we might be able to capture a few of your ideas from this work.
Okay.
We'll be right back with you in just a second, and our producer, Bill Rogers, has a word for you. Now, we're back with Dr. Charles Tatum, and Dr. Tatum, of course, is introduced us to what must be, how long did it take you to do the information to get this book together? The hours must have been unbelievable getting that much information together, Dr. Tatum.
Well, I will say this. It took us approximately 6 years to bring the book to reality. But if I had not been a full-time professor at the university and also going overseas for the different job opportunities with the U.S. military, I possibly would have finished it long before then. But with all of the extra things that we were doing, we will say it took us about 6 years.
How far back in history does the book go?
It goes back to at least 1836 primarily, and quite a bit of information on what was going on in this area prior to it becoming Shelby County.
Is there a place where there are documents that you searched out when you researched to find some of this information? Are there documents in Shelby County that you used or all over the state?
Definitely the courthouse records, and they were very generous over there in sharing much information. And as I mentioned, the Light Champion News and the beginning of those newspapers as far back as they had them. Now, other research in the Texas Archives in Austin, the Bureau of Vital Statistics, and we even went to Washington to the National Archives, and it's really much information in Washington, to my surprise, about our Shelby County that I had not found even in the Texas Archives. So we did go into much research, and one of the accounts mentioned one of the reviews stated that if you look at the bibliography of this book, you're almost talking about another book from the many sources that we went to.
And you're teaching at the university, and you're sharing with other people from, of course, all across America. Do you find anything unique that you find in Shelby County, or does everybody pretty well relate to, hey, this is just American heritage? Or is there something very unique that you found in Shelby County that may be different from what other people have shared in other parts of the country?
Well, I will say you will have more that's in common with other areas than you would have those things that would stand out as unique. But I do want to make a comment about the widespread of our book. As you know, during the war, World War II, rather, we had many people to leave Shelby County and go to California, particularly the state of California. And we had a book review of the Shelby County Los Angeles Club, really attended by at least 200 people who had roots back in Shelby County. We had a book review in San Francisco attended by at least 150 or more people who had roots back in Shelby County. We had a similar review in Chicago and in Detroit of people who had gone to these centers in the northern western areas from our county, but with great homage and respect for the county. So I will say the widespread sales of the book. We'll mention in here where we talked about the people leaving the county. Shelby County people that we contacted are living in some 38 states across the nation and 4 foreign countries. When the book was being researched, it may be more now. But we will say some people in our county do stand out that we're very proud of. A young man from Tennessee, graduating from the then Lincoln High School, became a U.S. ambassadorial official to the People's Democratic Republic of China. And what I'm saying, we do have a lot of people in Shelby County who have made such great contributions for whom the county should be well pleased.
Bill Rogers wanted us to talk about the Regulator-Moderator War. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
I will say it this way. The Regulator-Moderator War is covered quite well in my book, I think, from the many sources that we went to. But there's much written in the literature about the Regulator-Moderator War. And it would be, I think it would almost be an impossible thing to come along with a brief summary of it because it goes into so much detail. Now, I've also been asked to say where could we purchase the book. The book is available with the Light Champion News in the county. And I would say that's the only public place you could get it within the county. but it has been sold and on the shelves with B. Dalton Book Companies in the cities in Houston and in Dallas, and being sold, of course, by the Eaton Press in Austin. We have that availability. And then the Melissa bookstore in Houston, and I won't attempt to name all of those bookstores, but it's just going to come out.
But the Light Champion also would like a copy. They can go out there and purchase a copy. You know, it's just, I am amazed. You know, me, I am so shallow as far as on research and reading, you know, one of my many faults in life, you know. But it just amazes me to read a book of that depth, to have put it together and written a book like that. You know, I just have great admiration for that much research, and I can see where it takes that much time. Tell us something humorous. All right? Always there's a humorous story you come across that's about Shelby County. Somewhere down in all of these pages, there's got to be several humorous things.
We do have quite a bit of humor there. You would have St. Augustine story.
Okay.
Not only about slavery, but just her life in general is a very fascinating one. And Fred McClellan in East Liberty just got so much joy in sharing what St. Augustine had told him, how she smoked her pipes and how she used the language partially from the African culture and the French culture in South Louisiana, and how she had a struggle speaking English, and it really concocted a language of her own that many of the people would learn to grasp, and he would even mimic how she would tell some of her stories. But he had a very fascinating story about St. Augustine and the rooster, which I will not go into tell now. But anyway, as you mentioned, it is some very humorous stories in the publication that the elders have told more than anything else.
I bet it was just really a joy to meet with gentlemen like that, and just listen to them recalling stuff. I think how sad that we have a human life, that all of the experience and years that are there, and so many times just pass on with nothing recorded, no, memory recorded of what's going on. And that's why, so many times high in value, you think how many lives there are there, how many memories that never get recorded, and how sad that lives pass like that. And so I think it's great to have something that captures that.
I am fascinated by my elders. Will tell younger people younger than myself. I may talk a lot to you, but when I'm around my elders, my lips feel and my ears open like antennas. I will speak it in the East Texas vernacular. Many of the elders will tell me, boy, I have already forgotten more than you. Why? And in many instances, I will have to take them very sincerely, because I will say I learned so much that I did not even put the pages in going around listening to the elders. And I had many listening sessions.
Now, I think, and you may share, it's something that I can remember, of course, back and in talking with people in Shelby County. I think there's a joy in our county, just a general enjoyment of life. I think we should be thankful for it. But, I think we have a humorous side in this county. We enjoy the good things. We enjoy it. And did you find that pretty well in the people that you dealt with in the county?
Very much so, and there may be a kind of pride for Shelby County that a lot of people who reside in Shelby County now may not be aware of the many people who left Shelby County, and when they're away, they really talk with so much pride for the homeland. And it's really brought out from the many written accounts that people would mail to me to go into the book, who are living in other places. But this is home. I'm
very enchanted that like 200 people in Los Angeles, San Francisco, Chicago would come to the review on Shelby County, their homeland. What type of, I know you've got that statement after statement that I remember I've heard or Grandpa said or Mama said, do people recall warmly the things that they did?
Indeed. Now, as I pointed out, you have a Shelby County Los Angeles club. And these people really come together. You had it in San Francisco, and you had it in Detroit. So you can find by the mere fact that they would do that, there is quite a bit of homage to Shelby County.
I can think of how enchanting it must be to attend one of those club meetings. And everybody is sitting there talking about, well, we take it for granted. This is, hey, that's it. You do what, and How fascinating that must be.
I failed to mention to Palm Springs. We have quite a group of people from Palm Springs, California, who are from Shelby County, and they invited me there. It was quite an affair. Shelby County. And another one, in going to the many genealogical societies, the Jefferson County Genealogical Society, Harris County Genealogical Society, Galveston. The book is quite fascinating to non-Shelby Countyans. So I do want to say that we have a widespread sale from people who are not from this county. They would hear about it. I know that some of the bookstores, they would open the book and say, that's Shelby County, but I like this idea. I'm going to buy it because maybe we'll do a similar thing in our county.
Have you been able to use your book in any of your courses or any of your work at the
In my
university?
U.S. history courses, yes, very much so. And of course, now I do want to say that I'm doing a similar thing on St. Augustine County. I've already started the interviewing and going from house to house, and church to church, and cemetery to cemetery. And it's fascinating because I'm really finding that most of the counties from Bowie County, Texas, all the way down Jefferson County, Bournemouth, that's right on the Louisiana line, this kind of work needs to be done. So my hope is that somebody will become interested enough to keep it going long after I'm gone from the
Do you have any assistants that help, like, excuse me, doing research and working, or you? To me, that would be one of the more enjoyable things, is do the research, or you just begrudge that and do it yourself.
No, you couldn't possibly do research like this on your own. If I started naming the people in Shelby County, older people, young people, who just found it most fascinating to go out in cemeteries with me, it's just a whole group of them. In fact, one time the publisher said, my goodness, Charles, you're going to have a book of names.
Where are the major black cemeteries in Shelby County?
All right, of course, Westview here in Center, located in the quarters, and I've gone into quite a discussion about the use of quarters in reference to communities, you know. And of course, every one of the communities practically will have a black cemetery and have a white cemetery. Now, we have some where, for example, Carroll, the Coonville area, where blacks and whites are buried in, you know, in the same cemetery. At Shelbyville, we have the similar situation. And, of course, here in Center, First Methodist Church, behind the church there, you have blacks who are buried back there. Many, many years ago, you see. And, of course, today, since integration, I don't know what has been happening here of late, but more cases than not, the cemeteries have been segregated, which was no different in Shelby County than most of the Southland and some of the northern areas.
It's amazing to me. You know, I was in high school at the time that we integrated in Shelby County, and it seemed like there was as much sorrow on the part of the black students and people of having to almost disband their part of society at that time as part of their school system. What was the, you know, of that in that period of time? I'm sure you covered that somewhat in your book. Is there a sadness of the loss of that almost, I guess, a society, you know, schools? I know Booker T. Washington High School in Tennessee, it was just so sad. Those students were disbanding their teams and their traditions, almost were, it was just a disbanding that they had to go into our school.
Now, you do have quite a coverage of that kind of thing in our book. Right now, another book that's underway within my mental system is Education in Texas Before Integration. And you have the many black principals of then black schools, Professor C.H. Daniels, who was here, Professor Manny Jennings, all of these people. And I think now the time is very right and should be done immediately to give an account of what really went on before integration. And then later on, a look should be made in book form of what's going on since integration. I think we have more coverage of that already, though, than we have before integration.
Listen, I appreciate you coming. I think it's most interesting, and I'm just amazed at that much research that went into putting together a work like this. And again, you can purchase the book in the East Texas Light office here in the center. And we appreciate you, Dr. Tatum, for coming by. And
My pleasure.
Thank you.
I really appreciate the invitation.
You bet. Well, let us say that I appreciate you, Marilyn,
Well,
for
thank
coming.
you. Enjoyed being here.
Yeah, and we hope to see all of you back next week at the Coffee Shop Cafe. Have a good week, and don't forget, I think starting next Sunday, we have a revival at the First
sure
Baptist
do.
Church. Starting next Sunday morning. So if we'd love to invite you to come. It'll be Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, I believe, next week. I think you'll enjoy it. It'll be a great revival team. We look forward to a good meeting and want to invite you to be here next week, a week from today starting. And have a good week. We'll see you next Sunday.
Bye.